Imagine a room full of cameras, bright lights, and dozens of people moving quickly, but amidst it all, there was one tiny moment that was barely noticeable, except to those paying close attention. In a matter of seconds, the atmosphere shifted. A hand moved, a body shifted, and without a word, the message was clear: don't touch him. It was the moment Jungkook instinctively protected Jimin, a moment that still gives fans goosebumps to this day. It happened so quickly that many people didn't even notice it the first time they watched. But for those familiar with the dynamic between the two, even the smallest gesture meant a lot. Jungkook said nothing. There was no angry expression. There was no confrontation. Just a reflex action so natural, it was as if his body reacted before his mind had time to process the situation. It was actually just a normal workday for the members of BTS. They were surrounded by staff, production crew, and a team making sure everything ran smoothly. In an entertainment industry as large as theirs, physical interaction with staff is not uncommon. But there's an invisible line that sometimes only those closest to them understand. Jimin stood at the front, focused on the instructions given. A staff member approached, perhaps intending to help or adjust something on his clothes. Nothing seemed out of place to the naked eye. But in a split second, Jungkook moved. He stepped forward slightly, just enough to create distance between Jimin and the staff member. His hand lifted lightly, touching or directing the situation without aggression. The gesture was subtle, even polite, but firm. The message was clear: the boundary is here. What made this moment so powerful wasn't the act itself, but the way Jungkook did it. There was no drama, no deliberate attention-grabbing. On the contrary, he seemed to be trying to keep things normal. Yet his protective instincts couldn't be hidden. Jimin, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed. He didn't even overreact. It was as if Jungkook's actions were something he was used to, something that had happened frequently in their relationship. This is where many fans began to sense the depth of their connection. Such spontaneous protectiveness rarely comes without a strong emotional closeness. It wasn't a deliberate decision. It was a gut reaction. Since their trainee days, Jungkook had been known to be very close to Jimin. They shared the same training, struggles, and even doubts as they built their careers. Such closeness created a silent understanding, a kind of secret language only the two of them understood. Many people see Jungkook as easygoing and full of laughter. But this moment revealed another side, his vigilance. He noticed the small details around Jimin, even when others might not notice. Interestingly, this protective act wasn't the first time it had happened. Throughout their careers, there were many moments when Jungkook subconsciously positioned himself close to Jimin, at the airport, on stage, even in casual situations, as if his presence were a safe zone. Psychologists often refer to this type of behavior as an emotional attachment response. When someone feels instinctively responsible for another person's well-being, the body automatically reacts to any potential threat, no matter how small. But in the context of Jungkook and Jimin, it felt more personal. There was a long history of togetherness, growth, and support that shaped this reaction. They weren't just colleagues. They were part of each other's life journeys. What touched fans was the simplicity of the moment. There were no romantic words, no grand declarations, just one small gesture that said more than 1,000 words. Some might see it as trivial, just a casual interaction at work. But for those who follow their journey, small details like these were the most meaningful. Because authenticity can't be faked in spontaneous reflexes. Body language is often more honest than words. And in that moment, Jungkook's body language spoke very clearly. His priority was making sure Jimin felt comfortable and safe. What's even more interesting is that after that incident, the atmosphere immediately returned to normal. Jungkook returned to his position. Jimin continued with his activities. Nothing was exaggerated, but the camera had captured something truly precious. For fans, it was precisely that unintentionality that made it special. This wasn't fan service. This wasn't a staged moment. This was a slice of real life, a glimpse into their relationship behind the spotlight. Over time, the clip has been discussed, analyzed, and remembered. With each rewatch, the small details become clearer: the speed of Jungkook's reaction, Jimin's calm expression, and the protective energy flowing between them. Ultimately, we may never know what Jungkook was truly thinking at that moment. Perhaps he didn't even realize it himself. Because some of the most sincere actions don't come from the mind, but from the heart. And that's what makes this moment so unforgettable. Not because of the drama, but because of its sincerity. A small gesture, wordless, unhesitating, yet powerful enough to convey the depth of their bond. There was something almost imperceptible yet powerful about the way Jungkook perceived the situation around Jimin at that moment. His eyes moved quickly, scanning the situation, as if he always had a special radar when it came to that particular person. Many realized that this kind of concern didn't just emerge. It was built from years of mutual care. That moment also demonstrated the subtle difference between casual concern and a deep protective instinct. Concern can be planned, can be spoken, can be demonstrated with conscious action. But protective instinct occurs before logic has a chance to kick in. The body moves first, and then the mind follows. And that's what Jungkook's movements were clearly visible in that moment. For Jimin, Jungkook's presence near him seemed reassuring. There was a sense of trust that was hard to describe in words. A trust built from shared experiences, grueling training, industry pressures, and even vulnerable moments that the public might never see. All of it created a very strong emotional foundation. Many fans believe their relationship has a protector and protected dynamic, but it's actually more complex than that. On many occasions, it's Jimin who seems to be taking care of Jungkook, emotionally and mentally. Their relationship is like a constantly shifting balance, filling each other's void according to the needs of the moment. That's why the small incident feels so meaningful. It wasn't just about one person protecting another, but a reflection of a long-standing, two-way connection. When one person made a move, the other understood without explanation. It was an emotional synchronization that few people experience. Some body language experts have explained that such spontaneous physical intimacy typically occurs in individuals who are very comfortable with one another. Personal distance becomes different. Responses to potential disturbances also become more immediate. What Jungkook did at that moment aligns with this theory, a reaction from a sense of emotional responsibility. Interestingly, Jungkook's facial expression remained calm throughout the incident. There was no sign of aggression, no excessive tension. In fact, that calmness made the action feel more powerful. He wasn't angry. He was simply ensuring the situation was within his limits. Meanwhile, Jimin remained focused on his activity, as if he knew everything was under control. There was a comfort in his demeanor, a sense of security that perhaps only comes when someone is around someone they completely trust. And for many fans, this small detail was the most touching part. Ultimately, the moment served as a simple reminder that the deepest human connections are often found in small, unplanned actions. It's not big words that prove closeness, but a fleeting, spontaneous reflex. And in that split second, the world saw something real, a bond formed not just by time, but by a genuine sense of mutual care.